Hello and welcome to seispingüinos.com Instrumentopedia, a place that we look at instruments from all around the world. On March the 24th, 1753, a comedy called The Englishman in Paris came to London. And in this comedy, the actress Maria Macklin played a 6-course wire-stringed cittern, an instrument that was quite popular in Europe at the time. Anyway, this caused a huge furore. It was a huge success. And a year later, Thomas Cole, who was Maria Macklin's music teacher, started advertising lessons on how to play the guitar. The same instrument that appeared in The Englishman in Paris. And as he said, it differs nothing from the mandolin, unless in tuning, easier to play and yet more copious, having 2 strings more than the mandolin. Anyway, the English guitar very soon became popular all through England and Scotland. John Frederick Hinz claimed to be the original maker of the English guitar, and he even supplied them to the royal family. And in 1756, Thomas Cole published the first book of airs and songs for the English guitar. In 1757, James Oswald, who was the biggest Scottish composer of the time, he later became chamber composer to George III, published 18 divertimentis or duets properly adapted for the English guitar. In 1758, Robert Bremner in Edinburgh published the instructions for the guitar. This was huge. It was really popular. And what's more, they weren't expensive instruments, and they gave a chance for the lower and middle class families to get into social life. And in fact, in etiquette textbooks, they advertised playing the guitar. For example, a book published in 1779 called The Polite Lady claims that young ladies should perform on both harpsichord and guitar. And in the Public Advertiser in 1775, there's an advert looking for a maid who knows about millinery and hairdressing, but also is a complete mistress of the guitar. Now, when I say guitar, it's not G-U-I-T-A-R, it's G-U-I-T-T-A-R. That differentiates the English guitar from other types of guitar. Well, it was a huge success. Even Robbie Burns, the Scottish bard, played English guitar. And in fact, I'm convinced that he wrote Ye Banks and Braes on the guitar, because if you listen, it fits almost naturally. Fits perfectly. But there was a problem. The English guitar did not stay in tune. You had to keep on tuning it. It tuned very, very badly. Even John Frederick Hinz talks about this problem. But that was until 1766 when John Preston came up with the idea of the watch key mechanism. So you use a watch key to tune the strings. Okay? And a very effective mechanism, and it solved the problem of the tuning. Well, anyway, the English guitar, it was in vogue, hugely popular. It was played by lots and lots of people throughout the second half of the 18th century. But towards 1800, the new 6-string Spanish guitar appeared on the scene, and it took over. The English guitar became unfashionable, and by 1833 it was very hard to find one. They'd gone out of vogue completely. People stopped producing them. So that was the short but interesting life of the English guitar. There is an ancestor of this today, which is the Portuguese guitar, similar in shape, and it also has the Preston tuning still. So ironically, it died out in England, but it survived in Portugal and is still played today in fado music. This particular guitar is a Preston guitar, made in London. Has 6 courses of strings. The first 2 are single and the rest are double. And it's tuned C, E, G, C, E, G. So very easy, very simple tuning, which makes it fun to play. It has a beautiful spruce top, and the back of it, absolutely wonderful. It's maple, so you have these maple back and sides. A beautiful, beautiful instrument. And it has these holes in the neck. These are for the capo, the special capotasto or moving bridge that could be clipped into here, clipped in place. So anyway, this is what it sounds like. Bye.